You're watching FJTN, the Federal Judicial Television Network. Coming up on Court to Court.
I was so excited because I thought this is the opportunity for me to turn this from a job into a career.
It kept me sort of continuously learning and striving and building and growing.
With good communication with your staff, this is a really good example to them of why we do our jobs. Right. You know, this is the administration of justice.
This is Court to Court, your connection to what's happening in the federal courts around the country, providing information and ideas that will enhance your job and how the courts function. Now with today's program, Michael Burney.
Welcome to Court, the Federal Judicial Center's educational magazine program for all court employees. On today's show, we'll learn how a career development program can benefit staff in the court, and we'll hear from two clerks of court who have dealt with the challenges of high-profile cases. Changes in how courts and clerks' offices conduct business, especially CMECF, mean changing roles for and expectations of staff. One way to prepare for change is to encourage staff to take responsibility for their own careers. At the Bankruptcy Court for the Western District of Wisconsin, a recently implemented career development program aims to do just that.
Clerk of Court Marcia Anderson says the career development program is designed to fully develop the staff's talents and to help the court prepare for the future.
I said I need to maximize the people I have here, and I felt there was gold out there that was just hidden, and I had to find it.
Finding it required a new way of thinking.
We had to work against years of the ingrained perception that I'm a federal employee, so when I've been here long enough, I'll be promoted to a higher level. I had to talk to them about merit-based and performance-based promotions.
The Career Development Program allows employees to choose and develop a career path in areas such as customer service, case administration, automation, as a courtroom deputy, or in training.
Welcome to the first of a four-part customer service training that we're going to have.
When I first heard about the program, I was really very excited. I work in the divisional office and have been there for a number of years, and for me, I really thought that there was no possibility for a promotion, or if there was a promotion opportunity, that it would be in our Madison office.
Well, when I heard about the career development program, I was excited about it because I was going to be able to continue to learn.
My initial reaction to the program was excitement. Being one of the new people on the block, it offered me an opportunity to advance without having to wait years to get there.
To participate in the program, employees first identify an area of interest and position they would like to pursue.
And then, as everyone else did, assessed my qualifications and discovered that there were some courses that I needed to take to qualify for the job.
Employees must complete courses from a list of core courses that apply to each position. Participating employees then apply for a promotion or reclassification, explaining why they want to do so and how they are qualified. There's no guarantee that they'll get a pay increase or a promotion, but they are prepared if something becomes available at the court or elsewhere.
So this was just a big change to have to go and ask for it and work towards something and explain why you are qualified for that position. And it just gives you another opportunity to move forward and make some changes in your life.
The application includes a self-development plan, which asks employees to list their career objectives and how they plan to achieve them.
The career path, I think, fosters creativity, that we put much of the responsibility for the development of their position and them in that position back on the employee.
But that doesn't happen in a vacuum. Each participating employee has a coach, usually someone in a supervisory or managerial position who provides advice, encouragement, and feedback. In Wisconsin Western, they are the chief deputy clerk and the division manager.
So what do you think next? Is this what you want to stick with? Are you comfortable with this, or do you want a little bit more challenge?
Well, I do like the training, and it's certainly something that I want to continue with.
Once a year, there's a formal developmental conference.
Whatever's on their mind, ask questions of me, ask questions of what are their options.
Do you know how many of those positions we would have in our court?
Ours and Madison's?
I find it as a way to reflect on what I've done over the past year. And then at the same time, we have to come up with objectives and goals again for the coming year. Being able to do that sort of kept me sort of continuously learning and striving and building and growing.
One of the positions I was looking at on the promotional ladder was the ECF administrator, but having read the short description, it looked like it was more operations. How important do you feel that the systems part of that is?
There's also informal ongoing coaching.
Diana, may I have a minute of your time?
Sure, Julie, come on in.
I use our chief deputy clerk on a coaching basis almost weekly. She keeps us going in the right direction, always has ideas on courses and programs we can use to improve our effectiveness with the court.
I think what's really good about the impromptu coaching throughout the year is that it not only gives you a chance to assess and reassess your own goals and priorities, but you're certainly aware of the court's changing needs and requirements, so then that might help you as an individual court employee to readjust or reassess your goals.
The employees are what makes the court run and the clerk's office run, and you really do need to take that time.
They know bankruptcy. They know our court's procedures. The Career Path program gives them an opportunity to make bankruptcy a career, and we don't lose valuable employees.
When I first joined the government, there was no career path, and so it was just do your time. And when the career path came along, it offered an opportunity to advance as you could in the private sector based on your performance.
The productivity in our office has improved with this program because there are some who are very much focused on their new path, and they're like the Energizer Bunny.
I would encourage anyone to go ahead and go for it. I mean, you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. I like to keep learning and growing professionally and personally myself, so.
I was so excited because I thought this is the opportunity for me to turn this from a job into a career.
Kathy Grabowski has been with the court 4 years. She began as an intake clerk and saw the career development program as a way to combine schooling with her work. Shortly after Grabowski got her degree, the personnel and training specialist, Rosemary Jackson, announced her retirement. And though there were many applicants, Grabowski was hired for the human resources position.
Excellent. Is there anything else in that regard that I can help you with? I am someone who has gone through the program, and it's allowed me to see a dream fulfilled. My mantra through this entire process has been that it is a fantastic time to be a part of the court system.
For a long time, staff members, I think, thought their job was to punish people who failed to file the right number of copies. And I think they now see themselves in a very different light. They're teachers. They are really information givers as opposed to pain givers. They are actually helping people.
And what we have found is that someone that we hired as a case administrator is now delving into automation and training and making site visits. We had someone who was a secretary to the clerk who is now doing quality control and writing scripts and running reports and working from home.
I had an employee tell me a couple of months ago that she's regained her passion for her work.
Such a program does have a few rough spots at the start.
I think probably one of the biggest things that we have had to revisit in implementing this program is that it is not a competition between individuals. This program provides a challenge to individuals.
And sometimes there is resentment among those employees who don't participate.
Dealing with the conflict, hopefully we try to convey to the employees that this is all an individual decision. It is each deputy clerk's individual decision to move on or to accept where they are.
Also, employees need to understand that just because they apply for a promotion, that it may not automatically be granted because this is subject to budget constraints, staffing needs.
Both judges here in the district were very supportive and are very supportive of the program. They think that it's crucial that we reward our employees for their performance, and this program allows us to do that.
That's what we want. And now put in your first and last name, just like you would at your desk.
It's been a great opportunity for myself. I've been able to, for the most part, perform a different job than what I had in the past. It's been very challenging and it's been very exciting.
If you'd like more information about this topic from the Western District of Wisconsin, Clerk of Court Marcia Anderson asks that you give her a call. Her phone number is 608-261-5750. The FJC also has a new program called Build Your Career, which is available at our website. Click on Court Staff Education and then Online Courses and Tools. Build Your Career directs you to a variety of resources for planning and pursuing continuing professional education. It locates useful, interactive websites that are new to most court staff. The quizzes and resume builder are particularly popular. Another center career offering, the Federal Court Leadership Program, concluded its most recent class in the fall of 2002. Part of each participant's requirement is a temporary duty assignment. Many of these projects highlight techniques and practices that could be of use to other court units. We spoke with several participants about their projects and how they can apply what they learned.
My project focused on customer service, and that's what I could bring to my court. How that begins even with the hiring process, hiring the right people that fit into your organization, how to really cultivate a culture of customer service.
John Domrad and Dan McAllister went to the Army War College and studied attributes of leadership.
There is typically no right answer to leadership, but really is an art which you develop. I can apply what I learned by being more receptive to different ideas and different concepts that can be generated from numerous sources.
Linda Walker surveyed what some courts have done about training attorneys in CMECF and concluded that the two biggest issues are,
I would say, advertising and availability, being available to the attorneys at all times. Advertising, letting the attorneys know that the project is on its way to your district. And advertising could be what's ever available within your district.
You can access the list of all Federal Court Leadership Program projects on the FJC website. If you find something you'd like to know more about or try in your own court unit, email Fran Toller here at the center. She will give you information to contact the Leadership Program participant directly. Normally, Bob Fagan would be here now with Words to Know, but we're postponing it till next time so that we can bring you a special interview. High-profile cases bring many challenges to a court, regardless of the type of case. Security and media coverage get a lot of attention in clerks' offices, especially in an age of 24 hours a day news. Two courts with cases of international interest are the district courts for the District of Columbia and the Eastern District of Virginia. We invited their clerks, Nancy Mayer Whittington and Betsy Paret, to share with us some of what they've learned about dealing with these cases. They spoke with my colleague, Judy Roberts.
Thank you for joining us here today. Betsy and Nancy, I have one question to start off with that is for both of you. What do you see as the most challenging aspect of dealing with high-profile cases?
For us, it's been two things. First, security, and the second is the extraordinarily high number of reporters and news organizations interested in covering the stories.
I agree with Betsy. I think that the challenge for getting all the information out is very important, very timely. People have a demand for that information. Another aspect, too, is jury selection and trying to get a large number of jurors in and make sure you have them ready to go and coordinating with the big trial.
Could you give us some examples of how you've actually dealt with these areas?
In terms of the large number of reporters interested in covering the story, we've had a big problem because we don't really have a large press room. And so we've had to work something out with the city of Alexandria where they're actually leasing a vacant lot across the courthouse and are going to turn it into a media, kind of a trailer city in a way. And they're going to be wiring it with power, with phone lines, And so there's going to be news organizations renting space there. And so we were able to address that problem that way, but it's an unusual way to sort of solve the problem. And it's just been an ongoing process learning how we can get the information out as quickly as possible to all of these reporters, because as you know, everyone wants to break the story and get the information out first. So it's a very competitive situation right now.
Nancy?
And for us, dealing with the jury aspect of it, I think it's using just sound jury management practices, but with a large number of people, so that you want to make sure you have the adequate number of jurors that you've summoned. You want to coordinate with the judge in advance to get those numbers so you know what you're dealing with. You want to send out screening questionnaires to the jurors so that you can make sure if they have hardship issues, because most of these trials last a long time, and that poses a hardship for prospective jurors. And then you have your pre-voir dire questionnaire. You have all the duplication of that and working with counsel and coordinating that. And then once the jury is selected, you have all the care and feeding issues that you have for a long-term jury, which can be difficult.
Many challenges. Betsy, you talked about the competitive environment, and I wondered about this round-the-clock news today. How has that impacted your managing high-profile cases?
Yeah, that's raised a number of interesting issues. One is reporters calling all the time, trying to find out if there's anything going on, trying to create a story where there is no story, trying to sort of cajole you into releasing information before it's ready. When the Musawi case started, it was about this time last year, December 2001, and we did not have a website up, and we were not prepared to sort of respond to these requests for information on an immediate transmittal kind of situation. So having our website has been phenomenal, because now everybody gets the information exactly at the same time. But we experienced a small problem, because we always tried, the judge would like the parties to get a copy of her orders and opinions in advance of the media getting it. So there was always a 5-10 minute lag of time. And the funny thing was, the parties developed relationships with CNN, with ABC. So they would leak it to their friends. And so 1 minute, 20 seconds, whoever gets the story up there first makes a difference. And next thing I knew, I would be getting calls from reporters saying, well, it was on the website, but CNN reported it 2 minutes ago. Is there another process we're supposed to be following? No. And we had to now change how we do things, so everything is released, even to the parties, almost exactly at the same time. So it's been incredibly challenging to sort of make sure no one feels like they've got the leg up.
Trying to keep a sense of fairness across the board.
Exactly.
Now, did you actually hire an additional staff member to deal with some of the public information areas?
Yes, I was dealing with it for the first 6 months, and it was basically taking 97% of my time, which was too much. There were other things that needed to be done. So I was fortunate that we were able to hire a public information officer to sort of handle all of those, the daily contact with the media, to deal with the credentialing process, to deal with the seating arrangements, to work with the judges on making sure that we were doing things in a way that they were comfortable. It was without having this person, and the person doesn't have to be a public information officer per se. It can be a chief deputy, it can be your operations manager, it could be anyone that you designate as such. But it's a huge time commitment, and there's a lot of care and feeding and making sure that reporters know, what the rules are and how things are going to operate in the future.
Nancy, do you also delegate a specific person to deal with some of the public information issues?
Well, we have an administrative assistant to the chief judge position in our court that has been the primary liaison with the news media, and we work closely, of course, with the person in that position. And but they can handle just so much of it, because the media knows how to get to telephone numbers and knows how to get to email accounts and knows how to get to websites. So everybody kind of plays a role in that, but I think it's really important to have someone who is the primary contact.
Nancy, by the sheer location of your court, you always seem to have an above-average number of high-profile cases. Does it tend to become a routine matter of managing them, or is each one very unique and staff have to learn how to cope with the uniqueness of that case?
Well, I think there's probably very similar parts of all of them. There's a lot of press interest, there's a lot of public interest, There's generally a need to have a large courtroom in order to accommodate the parties. There is certainly lots of paper in the case and need to get that information out. But then there are unique aspects to every case. And for example, we have 3 cases going on right now, the Microsoft case, the campaign finance reform case, and then we have a large death penalty case that's going on. And although all of them have similar parts to them, the death penalty case has a lot of security issues because of witness protection and getting the jurors back and forth, and we've had to make arrangements for jurors to meet at a subway and be picked up there and brought to the courthouse and then taken away from the courthouse so that they're not impacted by the people who are hanging around trying to get in touch with them. In the Microsoft case, we had a lot of international interest in the case, and so we had to answer inquiries from England and Spain and Russia and have our website available and answer, as I said, the types of inquiries we got internationally. And then in the campaign finance reform case, it's a 3-judge court case, so we're dealing not only with one district court judge, we're dealing with another district court judge and the Court of Appeals judge at the same time, and paperwork going back and forth. So I said all of them have similarities to them, but each case has some uniqueness to it, and you have to remember, for many judges, this is their big case. It may just be their big case that year in our court, but it is their big case, so you have to treat it uniquely too, because that's important to them.
And that's a good point about the international media, because they don't often understand fully how the American justice system works. And so there's a lot of questions just basically explaining what is a grand jury, how does that work, what is this pretrial conference all about, why would there be something like that, why is the defendant here, why isn't the defendant here, and just making sure that they understand how things are going.
And the other aspect that the international media brings to the plate is that they don't have the same guidelines that we deal with our local reporters, who respect the rules of the court and respect that they want to keep a relationship going because they're going to be reporting here their whole lives. International media come and go and have done some very creative things to try to get information, including try to intervene in cases, and things like that that a local reporter wouldn't do. So that it's a whole other set of rules when you're working with them.
It almost sounds as if you're trying to educate them as well as help them get the information they should have access to.
Absolutely.
But it's also, as you suggested, I mean, you have sort of the reporters who cover your court all the time, and you've developed relationships and they know how things work. I mean, we knew we made it to the big time when People magazine came to cover the John Walker Lind hearings. I mean, we had never seen People magazine in the courthouse before. And there was just this sense of entitlement of you mean I don't have a seat? And no, you don't. So you'll have to wait and see if you get one later. But it's funny.
And I thought it was interesting you both mentioned all the technology advances. And do you consider them a major asset to you in managing these cases now?
I think I say thank God for the internet every day. We had a website in place and have for some time, but that has been incredibly more efficient to get information out. We were talking just the other day when we issued the Microsoft opinion how we could get it out to so many people and so quickly. And in the old days, we had people lining up outside the clerk's office, 50 and 60 people in line to hand out copies. We were never sure how many we needed, and there were always large opinions, and it was so resource intensive. And the internet and the web page and having a listserv, that, so that people can sign up for that, and then they don't have to check the website every day, and you can let them know when things are going to come out. That's been a big help too.
The email notification has been a huge benefit. I mean, the phone calls have just come to a complete halt, because what it does is it allows you to, anytime anything is posted on the website for a particular case, anyone who signed up for that gets a notification something's been posted. It doesn't say what's been posted, but then they know to look, and the phone are not ringing off the hook like they used to.
Well, it sounds like technology is definitely mutually beneficial.
Yes.
One last question, Betsy, on courthouse security. It's always been an important issue. With the 2 cases you have stemming from the 9/11 attacks and the war in Afghanistan, it seems even more of an issue. Have there been special things you've learned in the past 2 years on courthouse security? Is there anything you would do differently based on what you've learned?
The Alexandria Courthouse is basically now a fortress. We have jersey barriers around the entire building. We have additional security. We have roving patrols. So it has changed a lot, and people are getting used to that. We are doing background checks on every reporter, every producer, every technician, every camera guy who has expressed interest in covering the Moussaoui trial. 2,100 people have already been through this background check. We're going to be issuing credentials that NSA is helping us design to ensure they can't be forged in any way, and they're going to have their photo on it, so that people are going to have to schedule a time to come to the courthouse to get this taken care of. And this is unusual. I mean, this is not the case in most high-profile cases. So that's been an additional kind of burden on the court to deal with that. The other aspect that's a little bit different is we are going to be transmitting to the families and survivors of the 9/11 victims the trial once that goes. So there are considerations related to, there is a camera in the courtroom, and all of the lines have to be encrypted and secure to the various locations throughout the country where people will be watching the trial. We have an overflow courtroom because of the limited size of the courtroom, so that will transmit as well across the hall into another courtroom for the overflow seating. And so security is a big deal. One of the things that I found has helped a lot, and I wish I had started doing this kind of earlier in the process, was letting everybody know, staff, what was going on, and because people notice, when Jersey barriers are put up and they notice that they can't get into the garage the same way they used to. So we tried, as soon as the marshal said it was okay to start talking about it, to have a number of meetings to let people know what was going on, because you want your folks to feel safe. And I think we've done a good job, in hindsight, of making sure people feel like, we're probably in the safest place in America right now, and that even though all of this is going on, we are protected and we're going to be able to get through this okay. And the other thing is making sure people have an opportunity to go watch the proceedings, to watch the trial, because oftentimes, here are the people who work in the facility and they don't even get to see what's going on. They just read about it in the paper or see the sketches on the news the next night. So we're making a big effort to make sure we've got some seats available for staff, and it's rotated.
I think that's really important too. The effect that these cases have on court staff it can be unbelievable, because there's a lot of pressure, and because the media makes inquiries all over the place, you have to make sure everybody's on the same page with what information they're giving out, and mostly what information they're not giving out, which is really what you end up doing more times than not. But I've also been able, with good communication with your staff, this is a really good example to them of why we do our jobs. Right. This is the administration of justice in the highest form in many cases, and it brings the mission statement of your office alive by saying that you are taking part in history, you're taking part in this, and that's why you come in every day. And some days when you don't feel like doing something, or that this is very important, and that we're reminded about that, often in these kind of cases in particular.
Well, it sounds like you've just given our court families some excellent ideas on what to do, not only to help manage the high-profile cases, but to keep in mind how important these cases can be to court staff themselves. I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's our program for this time. We value your comments and evaluation of the program. We also want your ideas about topics we should cover. Please contact us at the address on the screen. Click on FJC Broadcasts on the FJTN, and then click on Court to Court to select the evaluation form. There are two forms. One can be printed, filled out, and mailed or faxed to us. The other can be completed online. Both forms invite your ideas for future topics. For future programs, we're working on stories about community outreach, alternative work schedules, and solving problems with implementing CMECF. We hope you'll join us. I'm Michael Burney. On behalf of everyone at the Federal Judicial Center, thank you for watching today.